happy family man, the father of 5 wonderful children, decide to run for public office? What makes a successful businessman, president of one of the leading offshore drilling companies, decide to run for public office? What makes a man undertake the burden of service to his country and to the rights of the individual? George Bush, Republican candidate for the United States Senate, speaks.
Senator Ralph Yarborough must be beaten in November, and I want to tell you why. He does not represent Texans. He represents the new frontier and the labor bosses in Detroit. He is for every sweeping, high-spending, new frontier program. Cynically, he seeks always to swap special favors for votes. Even when he goes down the line for LBJ and the new frontier, he fails to get recognition from his own party because they simply don't like him. If you were president, how would you feel about a man who recently called you a power-mad Texas politician? I want very much to be the Republican nominee for the United States Senate on May 2nd. I believe I am qualified not only to beat Yarborough in November, but to bring to Washington conservative, responsible thought and action to combat the fallacious philosophy of the new frontiersmen. When high Washington pressure forced Joe Kilgore and Lloyd Bentsen out of the Yarborough race, leaving the incumbent senator virtually unopposed, this became the shame of the Democrat Party in Texas. But the shame of the Democrat Party is the challenge of the Republican Party in 1964. We are going to win the Senate race in November for all the people of Texas. Let me briefly tell you why I think I merit your support in the Republican primary. First of all, I have a tremendously high regard for the United States Senate and think it and Texas deserve something better than Ralph Yarborough in this great body. I won't dwell on my war record except to say that I was proud to have served my country and that I think being a combat veteran equips me to understand better the vast problems of our national security and the annual spending of $50 billion for defense. I do not fear debating fiscal issues with the new frontiersmen and Yarborough, and I believe my educational and business background provide me with the ammunition I will need. After college, I returned to Odessa and Midland, where, in the framework of the free enterprise system, I helped to build 2 strong businesses in the oil industry. I suggest to you that knowing what it is to borrow money and pay it back is a good requisite for a senator. I know what it is to work for a paycheck, and I also know what it is to have many families dependent on our business for their livelihood. I have seen firsthand the communist-dominated unions in Venezuela shut down our offshore operation overnight. I have gone to Washington and battled with the Federal Power Commission. I've been active in civic affairs, believing that if ordinary citizens don't shoulder these responsibilities, the welfare planners from Washington will do it for us with our money. I have been a Republican all my life. I believe in a 2-party system. I headed the 1952 and 1956 Eisenhower-Nixon campaigns in West Texas. I have worked at the precinct level, and most recently was chairman of the Harris County Republicans, the largest GOP political organization in the state. Lastly, I never have and never will turn my back on my party or my fellow Republican candidates. I am perhaps proudest of having been the man who brought the redistricting suit in federal court, the suit which recently was upheld by the Supreme Court. This was a victory for the rights of all Texans. Republicans and conservative Democrats can beat Ralph Yarborough in November. He must be beaten. He will be beaten. And I humbly ask your support in the Republican primary on May 2nd in order that I can prove to you that I am the man who can beat Yarborough in November.
George Bush, the Republican opportunity, the opportunity to win, the opportunity to bring responsible government back to Texas. George Bush, the man for the United States Senate. Vote for George Bush in the Republican primary May 2nd.